In this episode, I'm going to show you some basics of dehydrating. This is my workhorse. This goes up to 145 degrees, and I do all my vegetables on this. When I'm really busy, I get out all my trays, and I use this. This is my Nesco that does meat and jerky also. This one goes up to 160 degrees, and you would use that for fish, meats, and jerky. Now, when you get one of these, you can, one thing I'm going to tell you you're going to want, if they don't have them, are these. I bought a set on Amazon. I think there were 8 or 10. You have to cut them out, I believe, yourself. But if you don't have these, you can imagine the food just drops through as it dries. So you need these. If it doesn't come with it, get them. I think they used to have these plastic things in craft stores, but you can actually order sets of them online. You're going to want this. This is more of a close-up of the Nesco. And see, you can set it for 160 all the way down to 95, which you would use for herbs and spices. So you have a wide range here. And this is a very nice machine. Both of these I got at a thrift store or at a rummage sale. That's a really good source for these types of things if you don't want to invest a lot of money. I know this one is about $60 or $70 new, and this nobody had ever used when I bought it. And this thing I've used for years, and it's never failed me. Also, I want to show you, you take this lid off. I've been doing peppers, so I need to clean them. But there's tray after tray after tray. That's what they look like. And when you're done, when I get done with a big batch, then I clean them. But that's what it looks like. It's just tray after tray. As you can see, I've loaded a tray with red peppers that are diced up. They're cut up roughly. One of the goals is try to get them about the same size, but, well, that didn't work because there's ridges in the pepper. It'll just take a few of these a little longer to dry. That's all that means. But the one thing I did when I prepared the pepper is I rinsed it and I dried it. Then I rinsed off the inside and dried that and cut it up. The reason I did that is you've just removed some of the time that you need to dry this thing. You can understand that if it's all wet when you put it on there, it's going to have to dry the wetness off first and then dry it, the vegetable. So I'd like to wipe them off, dry them before I put them on. And I also have here, this is all one large red pepper. I tried to get these as uniform as possible, and we're going to let these dry. The beauty of these is they dry, they're brittle when you're done, so you can just snap them into whatever size piece you want. But let's get these going. I'll try to find out how long it is. I'll time it for you. I'm going to set it at 125. That should be good enough. And I can always turn it up if I want it to go faster. All you do is you put this on. I'll plug it in and it starts right up. We're in business. We'll let that go, and it'll take at least about 5 hours. It's been 2.5 hours. Now these are doing nicely. You can see they've already changed quite a bit. This one, this end right here that I'm touching is just right, but this one still, I can still feel pulp and moisture. It's mushy. So that's not done yet. None of these are done yet, but they're a lot closer. Parts of them, if they're thin enough, are done, and it's not going to do any harm to leave them on there. Now let's look at the ones that I cut up. Okay, that still has give to it. It still has mushy. I gotta come up with a better term. Still soft inside. These are going to be pretty brittle when I'm done. Yep, none of these are done either. This is the closest, and that's because it's dry. It feels dry. It's, oh dear, how am I going to describe this to you? It's leathery. It's just a thin piece of leather-like. Let's put these back on for a little longer. Alright, so these are all done, and they came out in 5 hours. Now I'm going to try to explain how they feel in more precise terms. They feel leathery. There's no fleshy part to them. You can't feel where there's any fluid. And they're not brittle right now. Well, yeah, you can break that off. But that's how these feel. Now let's look at these. These also are just dry. And that's what you want with these. Dry. You can't feel any give. There's no mushiness in the middle. Now, when I show you some other vegetables, some vegetables need to be prepped before you dehydrate them, but with peppers you don't need to. Done, I'm going to vacuum seal them and put them in my freezer. If you vacuum sealed them and put them on a shelf, I don't know, they last so many months, but if you vacuum seal them or just even put them in a baggie and put them in the freezer, they last a long, long time. You've just helped me do peppers. Next, I'm going to dehydrate a Roma tomato. Now normally I would be doing this when they're ripe. I like to grow some heirlooms, so I really like to dehydrate those. But this is just a Roma I had in my refrigerator. I sliced it very thin. One thing you can do to prepare a tomato for dehydrating is to put it into boiling water for a couple seconds, pull it out and get the skin off. That doesn't bother me. I just leave that on here. And also the peppers require no prep either. Certain vegetables and fruits you need to blanch first. You need to stop them aging, and then you need to plunge them in cold water and stop them cooking. But tomatoes and peppers are pretty carefree. You can just do it like this. So are the herbs. Well, my tomatoes are done. And I found the word that I want to use, and that's leathery. This is totally dry now. Of course you can't see. I mean, it's just dry. You can bend it, but there's no fluid. It's just dry and brittle, not even quite brittle. It's leathery. And these are all done. What you can do with these is, of course, I would seal mine, and then you can throw them into a pot when you want tomatoes in something. I didn't take the skin off either on this. By the way, we were just laughing around here. It seems like every time I want to film, Martin is heating up coffee in the microwave, so I have to wait. And also, that was almost 3 hours on the dot. Well, I'm outside measuring the grass to see if it's long enough so I can mow, but not quite yet. We're going to have a thunderstorm tonight. Maybe that'll perk things up. I'm also rereading a childhood favorite, but reading it as an adult is a little different. That paw moved them about every 2 years, and they had to build a brand new house every time. Let's talk paper towels. They're hard to find. Maybe you've got a little stash. You wonder if you're going to run out. Well, let me show you something. This has been done for eons and eons. And if you don't have paper towels, you use rags. My mom always had a rag bag. In fact, I do too. You just cut up like an old tea towel. That's an old tea towel. That's an old bath towel. T-shirts make perfect rags. You use them when they get dirty, wash them and use them again. So if you're running low on these, try these. You may end up doing that all the time. Paper towels still have their role, but give a rag bag a try. This picture from my garden is a sign of things to come. Coronavirus or no, the plants will come up. So I had the mistaken idea that the house would stay cleaner being sheltered in place. Ha! It's the opposite. We're home all the time. I'm sure some of you can identify with that. I started my tomato seeds too early, so I'm trying to rein them in a little. April is cold here, and we were supposed to have 2 inches of snow last night, but it's only going to be 26 degrees later today. That's not fun. The little grocery store put tape arrows on the floor of the aisles to direct you to go one way. And they have early senior shopping. They even had a young gal in the store letting you know if you were getting too close. I would hear her a couple of aisles away. Too close, too close. But I'm getting kind of scared. I caught myself polishing the toaster yesterday. I never polish the toaster. I wipe it off. But I never polish it. I miss my friends. I miss my church family. I miss giving hugs. But I don't miss getting sick. I'm still praying, but don't you let up and don't give up and stay sheltered in place. Until next time when I'm going to do some more dehydrating. By the way, I was watching the news, and in France they're stir-crazy, it says. But I know in the United States we get cabin fever. Until next time, bye-bye.